Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here in your international virtual conference. It's a great initiative. I think the chancellors of Sri Krishna University and organizers, especially Dr. Ashwani Kumar Dubey, who invited me for this particular conference. I want to share my screen now. My particular subject today is Homa organic farming. Homa organic farming for global food security. Now, when we talk about food security, we have to consider the problems with agriculture worldwide now. These problems can be traced back to one serious mistake in agriculture generally, and that is intensive chemical-based agriculture is not sustainable. With chemical fertilizers and pesticides, it becomes necessary to increase the dosage or alter formulas as the years go by. More and more inputs are required to produce the same results as before. Farmers spend more on external inputs while their income is dropping. Nutrients are extracted from the soil without replenishing them, thus robbing the soil of its life-sustaining elements. Then insects become a huge problem. They adapt to the chemical poisons, and many crops are attacked ferociously. After the Chernobyl nuclear accident in Russia, the insects did not die out. They mutated into new unknown forms, which are totally resistant to all chemical poisons. Wrong agricultural practices and wholesale destruction of forests have affected the weather patterns. Rains are no longer reliable or regular and cause great destruction. All rains now are acidic. Soil becomes acidic, so much so that in some places nothing will grow. And the hybrid seeds, which gave such excellent results in the 1960s and 70s, no longer yield those good results. A stage comes in farming when nothing grows unless the farmer uses massive doses of fertilizers and pesticides. At this stage, he is ruining his soil, his subsoil, and the water resources. The final stage is reached when the farmer plants the seed, waters the field, and waits. But nothing happens. Nothing will grow, not even weeds. Land that was once fertile and produced abundant crops has to be abandoned. The soil has been totally destroyed. Scientists now say that all rain that falls is acid rain. They also say that the oceans are turning acidic, and therefore the soil is also turning acidic. Acid rain not only affects the natural ecology, but the people and the agricultural crops as well. In fact, acid rain is destroying the top 15 centimeters of soil on our planet on which all of life depends. The soil depth and its richness are a basic standard of health of the living planet. When soil is lost, imbalance and injury to the planet's life occurs. Soil scientists estimate that 300 to 1,000 years are required for the buildup of each 1 inch of topsoil. Civilization which depends on this topsoil for its survival is destroying that topsoil. This is ultimately a suicidal act. And then we have the problem of radioactivity. Nuclear radiation causes immediate death, burns, cancers, birth defects, mutations, and many other maladies. There is no acceptable method for the disposal of the waste. Then the nuclear accidents such as Fukushima, Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, nuclear wars waged over the last 20 years with depleted uranium, and then there's also natural radiation which comes from the bowels of the earth. Global warming is another factor. Man-made increase of CO2 in our atmosphere. The other sources of warming are methane, chlorofluorocarbons, oxides of nitrogen, and low elevation ozone. If warming continues at the current rate, scientists predict a planetary extinction event. Then GMOs, genetically modified organisms. Chemical pollution, we know, is one thing, but no matter how bad that chemical pollution, it will gradually reduce over time. Even nuclear radioactive poisons will slowly mutate into their non-radioactive forms. But GMOs, genetically modified organisms, are biological pollution, and this contamination will only increase over time. There are many studies which show that genetically modified organisms are much more aggressive and will eventually wipe out the natural organism from its habitat. Then there was a report which came out in the year 2008 after 4 years of research by a team of 400 scientists. Their conclusion was, in terms of agriculture, small-scale organic farms are the future. Indigenous and local knowledge plays just as important a role as formal science. Business as usual is now not an option. GMO crops are a big disaster. Chemical agriculture is a major cause of global warming. These were the main conclusions of that report. So it seems like organic farming, everything seems to be pointing now towards organic farming as a solution. Benefits of organic farming come in the form of energy savings, decreases in the amount of greenhouse gases and global warming, water savings, globalization problems are avoided, pesticides are reduced, environmental impact is much less, nutrition and health are increased, seed saving is there, job protection and sustainability. But now, due to this unprecedented attack by these hybrid and compound forms of pollution, some Western scientists think that we may have reached a stage which may be termed irreversible. Organic methods of farming, which used to give wonderful results in the past, now fail to do that due to this pollution. The solution to this lies in the super technology of Vruksha Ayurveda, which is now presented to the modern world as Homa organic farming. Now, about Homa organic farming, when we see farmers making the tradition from chemical farming to organic farming, there are generally several difficulties which crop up. First is lower yields compared with conventional chemical agriculture. Then the appearance and the size of the produce does not normally meet commercial standards. And there is an increase generally in insect pests and diseases. Low yields are the most difficult obstacle to overcome. So speaking on the subject of low yields, I just wanted to tell you this particular story from one of our Homa farmers. This particular guy, his name is Sri Ramesh Chandra Tiwari. He's from Unnao district in UP. And in the 2010 season, he achieved a record production of mangoes, 120 tons in 3 hectares. That's 40 tons per hectare. Now, if anybody knows about mangoes, you'll know that that figure is not possible. The farmers in that area averaging around 10 tons per hectare. With all known techniques and using agrochemicals, the 10 tons per hectare can be extended up to maybe 14 or 15 tons per hectare. But this particular guy in 2010, using the techniques of Homa organic farming, achieved 40 tons per hectare of mangoes. It's just unbelievable. So there's no question that this Homa organic farming method can definitely solve the problem of low yields in organics. In fact, with Homa organic farming, the quantity of harvest per acre will be greater than that grown by any other method. Harvesting time is reduced. The taste of the Homa produce is better. There is improvement in color and texture of the harvest. The Homa produce has a longer shelf life than that grown by any other method. Natural predators appear automatically. disease resistance increases and the cost of production is much less compared with other methods. So when I say Homa organic farming, what exactly is this? What does it mean? Homa organic farming means the application of the principles of homotherapy to organic farming practices. And what is homotherapy? Homotherapy means healing and purifying the atmosphere, soil, and the water resources with fire as the medium. The central idea in homotherapy is you heal the atmosphere and the healed atmosphere heals you. And of all the fire practices given in the ancient science, the ancient Vedic science of homotherapy, Agnihotra is the basic Homa. Now, Agnihotra, when we say Agnihotra, we mean one very specific havan, very specific Homa. It's practiced in that small copper vessel, pyramid shaped, of a specific exact shape and size. Has to be exactly that shape and size. Ingredients to be burnt in this fire are the dried cow dung cakes, pure cow's ghee, and unbroken, unpolished grains of rice. Then there is a simple Sanskrit mantra to be uttered. And most important is the timing of this Agnihotra, 2 times in a day, exactly at the timings of sunrise and sunset, exact to the second. So to practice this Agnihotra, you prepare the fire. The fire should be fully ablaze at the time given in the timetable of sunrise or sunset. Take a few grains of rice and apply a little ghee. Little cow's ghee, has to be pure cow's ghee only. Divide into 2 portions. And then there are 2 ahutis, 2 offerings. After each of the words swaha in the mantra, you offer 1 portion of the rice ghee mixture to the fire. Here is the Agnihotra mantra at sunrise. Suryaya swaha, Suryaya idannamama, Prajapataye swaha, Prajapataye idannamama. And at sunset, Agnaye swaha, Agnaye idannamama, Prajapataye swaha, Prajapataye idannamama. Now, when we start Homa farming, what we do is we establish what we call a resonance point. In a resonance point, 10 new Agnihotra pyramids are required, which are activated with mantras, and they're placed in the farm in a special configuration. 2 simple huts are required also, with natural, inexpensive local materials. The same human effort is required for a 1-acre farm or for 200 acres. So one resonance point can treat up to 200 acres at a time. The farmer simply has to do Agnihotra daily at sunrise and sunset, and then a few hours of another Homa, which we call Om Trambakam Homa. I can't go into details about that now because of the time limitations. Then normally for Homa farming, cooperation is necessary between the farmers. So here's an example of 24 small farms, which are all cooperating together. They're all organic and they're all participating in the Agnihotra and the Homa to treat their combined farms, which come up to an area of 150 acres in this particular case. Now, the cow is a very important factor in the Homa organic farming. Cow dung and cow's ghee are absolutely essential items for all the Homa fires. Cow dung and cow urine are also used for treating the seeds before planting. And the cow dung and cow urine are also necessary components for our biofertilizers, such as Homa Biosol. Then when we talk about cows and cattle, there was one study which was done, informal study in Peru, in South America, over a period of 18 months, where the health of cattle was studied on farms where homotherapy is practiced, and also on conventional farms without the homotherapy. And you can see from the table there that the various parameters which were tested were all improved with the homotherapy. What is very interesting is the second from the bottom point, parameter, is the placenta retention. Now, retention of the placenta is a difficult problem in animal husbandry of cows, but you'll notice that with the homotherapy, they found that there was absolutely no placenta retention whatsoever. So this is a very, very important factor when it comes to cattle health. Honeybees are also extremely important for all of agriculture. Honeybees are now dying on a mass scale in all parts of the world. Not enough nutrition, because bees are needed for balance on the planet. And so this is a big threat to agricultural production. Interestingly enough, in the ancient science of Vedas, it's told that inborn in the honeybee are certain hormones that are produced only in what we call Homa atmosphere. That's an atmosphere which is created by this Agnihotra and homotherapy in the agriculture. This subject is completely foreign to anything that Western science has encountered so far. And these hormones that are developed in the honeybee by this Agnihotra are very important for increasing the nutritional levels in fruits and vegetables. Now, I have some figures here of some studies which have been done to show what are the improvements in yield and disease incidence in various crops. There's just a sample of some of the studies which have been done. First one is from our good friend, Dr. Selvaraj from Tamil Nadu Agricultural University in Uti. And you can see in this particular case, this was cabbage, and they were testing the incidence of leaf spot disease on the cabbage. You can see from the figures that the red one is the organic treatment plus Agnihotra, and that particular parameter showed the lowest in terms of incidence of disease and also the highest in terms of yield. Then there was another study on potato by the same group of scientists in Tamil Nadu Agricultural University. And in this particular study, they were studying late blight, percentage of late blight. And you'll see 90 days after planting, the incidence was much less with the Agnihotra plus organic, and the yield was also greater. And then here's another study. This time, this is from the CSK, Himachal Pradesh Agriculture University in Palampur, in Himachal. Study by Dr. Rameshwar, Dr. Poonam, and Dr. Atul. And this study was on the yield and quality of lemongrass when using Agnihotra ash combined with organics. And again, you can see here, I've highlighted in red, where the Agnihotra ash was used, we got the best results of all the parameters which were tested. So this is general situation with all of the studies we've and there are now quite a sizable amount of studies which have been done on homo-organic farming. They all show much greater improvement in all the parameters than as compared to other organic methods and also conventional agrochemical methods. Then there was an interesting study which was done in the US some time ago about phosphate. Phosphate, how much phosphate was per gram of soil with Homa methods and with non-Homa methods. Different types of soils were tested, and you can see in each case with the Homa method, the amount of phosphate per gram was greater than with the non-Homa methods. So this is another evidence that this Homa organic farming is much superior to other methods of farming. Then I've got some more examples here of various crops which have been grown over the years in parts of India and also in other foreign countries. In this particular case, this crop was soybean, which was grown in MP, district Indore. It was like an experimental crop to see what would happen with the Homa organic farming. And you can see the yield was extremely high. The yield, 2,105 kilos per hectare with the Homa organic farming, as against 700 to 800 kilos per hectare with the conventional agriculture. And color was superior, and the roots of the plants also showed twice the number of nitrogen fixing modules. Then there was another case here from Karnataka in Belgaum district. One Homa farmer there, his name was Sri Abhay Mutalik Desai. He at one stage had an attack of Micromus, Igorotus, and Diapha aphdivora on his sugarcane crop. And later he found out that this attack came due to using impure ghee in the Agnihotra and the Homas. But those insects were immediately controlled by two natural predators. The natural predators of the woolly aphid. Sorry, the woolly aphid was the insect which was attacking the sugarcane. The predators were the Micromus and the Diapha. So that's a very good indication that insects are very much controlled very easily using this Homa technology. Then there's another case here of insect control. This has come from Bangalore in Karnataka. This was from the campus of the Art of Living ashram in Bangalore. And this report came from Sri P.J. Joseph, who was the Assistant Director of Agriculture in Kasaragod in Kerala. He, when visiting the farm, he noticed there was a severe attack of the leaf-eating caterpillar pest Nephanthus ceranopa, and the attack was spreading throughout the whole farm. He recommended that they cut the severely affected leaves immediately and burn them. Meanwhile, on the campus, the youth leadership team had commenced Agnihotra in the area at the instigation of their guru. And 3 days later, when he returned to the farm, Sri Joseph found that there was no more evidence of this caterpillar pest on the coconut leaves. And he then recommended that they stop cutting the leaves, and that he certified that the garden, the coconut garden, was totally free from that leaf-eating caterpillar. Then, in terms of other countries, Homa organic farming is practiced in several countries now. Here is a story from Austria in Europe. This was one of the very first Homa farms. This was in 1986, at the time of the Chernobyl nuclear accident in Russia. This particular lady, Mrs. Karen, She was working on this Homa farm in Austria, and immediately after that nuclear accident, the Austrian government called for samples of milk and cow fodder to be tested for radioactivity, because that radiation spread dangerously all over many countries in Europe. When the scientists tested the milk and fodder samples from this Homa farm, they were shocked to find that the milk and fodder on the farm had normal radioactivity, while all the surrounding farms had a much higher level of radioactivity. This is a definite proof that this Homa organic farming method gives incredible protection against all types of pollutions. Then there's another incredible story, this time from Peru in South America. In 1999, they established a Homa farming project in 3,000 acres in Peru, in the Amazon region of Peru. 3,000 acres. There were 30 farms, each of 100 acres, making a total of 3,000 acres. And for 7 months, the agricultural officers from the offices of the Presidency of the Republic of Peru monitored all the crops which were grown in that particular area, which consisted of plantain, banana, papaya, cocoa, citrus, avocado, coffee, tea, star fruit, mango, and also annual crops such as rice, corn, soybean, nuts, sesame, and also complemented with honeybees and cattle. They noticed there was a substantial reduction in the various pathogenic agents. All pests and diseases were completely eradicated, and the yield of harvest was increased also. The fruit grew healthy with better color, taste, weight, and texture. And at the side there, you can see the certificate, the government certificate from the agricultural officer. It's in Spanish. We've had that translated into English, where he makes his report. That's incredible. 3,000 acres at a time, tested for 7 months. Then there's another story from this time from Indonesia about the mosaic virus. It's a very dangerous virus in the plant kingdom. There was one particular farm there that this particular guy was working on. He's an Australian guy called Luca Foglietti. And this farm project was in Sumbawa in Indonesia, one of the small islands of Indonesia. This organic farm was 3 acres, only a small farm. And the project lasted 6 months, from May to November 2018. When Luca first came to the farm, they tested the pH. It was more than 8.0, so very alkaline. The bore water was salty, and the soil was mainly rock-hard clay. So very, very difficult conditions for agriculture. Nevertheless, they started the project, the organic project. After the first few months, they noticed that some fruits were rotting from the bottom and a few leaves were turning yellow. Luca attributed this to the high pH in the soil. However, after 3 months, in August, it was clear that it was the mosaic virus, which is affecting the whole farm. Later, he found out that mosaic virus is an extreme problem in the whole of Indonesia. So the owner suggested practicing Agnihotra. Luca had heard about Agnihotra, but he was very skeptical about, however, because he was so desperate, he agreed to try this Agnihotra and the homotherapy methods. After a few weeks of regular Agnihotra, the virus was contained and not spreading to new plants. After 5 weeks, he was shocked to find that the pH had reduced from 8 point something down to somewhere between 6.5 and 7.2, which is a very nice pH for growing vegetables. After 2 months also, the bore water was no longer salty. Earthworms had returned. By October, the place was flourishing, full of bees, birds, and also monkeys. So that's a fantastic story there from a skeptic, an Agnihotra skeptic, who managed to prove, in spite of his skepticism, that Agnihotra works very, very well against the mosaic virus disease. Then we've got another story here from Australia. This is from a farmer whose name is James Morris. He grows broccoli in this particular season. Broccoli is a very, very nutritious vegetable. He was new to Homa farming, and he reports that there were 3 applications only of the Homa foliar spray. That means Homa foliar spray means to take the ash, which is remaining after Agnihotra, the basma, keep it in water for 3 days, and then strain it, and that water can be used as a foliar spray. So he says that compared to his last year crop, he had a phenomenal harvest, 2,875 kilos when he was expecting only 1,000 kilos. So nearly 3 times the quantity, what he was expecting. The quality and weight of the heads, very impressive. Germination was 99.9% compared to only 90% in the control organic crop. And the control crop was also 75% slower to mature. So shorter vegetative cycle, no pests, no disease. Crop came in all at the same time, meaning far less labor and production costs. James says it was a perfect harvest. So another successful Homa farmer. Then there's another story from Ecuador in South America. This is from a banana farm. This is from the 2008 season. And on this particular farm, they started the Homa technology in 2008. Before that, for 3 years, they were practicing organic agriculture without Homa therapy. 2008, they started the Homa technology, and you can see in this graph the increase in the weight of the bunches here. This is the top line. This is the 2008 season with the Homa therapy technology. Much improved weight of the banana bunches. And then here again, this graph shows the number of hands or clusters per bunch. And you can see the light blue color at the top is also the 2008 season. And you can see such an increase in the number of hands or clusters per bunch in that with the Homa farming methods in 2008. And in fact, in that particular area, they measure the harvest in terms of boxes per hectare. And that particular farm, the Fuente de Alegria, which is highlighted in yellow here, had the #1 production with 1,804 boxes per hectare. #1 place for productivity in all of the banana plantations in the area. So fantastic result for Homa farming there in Ecuador. Now, just before I finish, I'd just like to mention one more story. This story is also from UP in India, district Unnao. This is another mango farmer. I mentioned one mango farmer before. This is another guy. His name's Kamlesh Singh. This particular guy suffered from diabetes. He started Homa farming for his mangoes because they were badly affected with mango hopper and mealybug. He got a very good improvement in the mango trees in his garden. But what was surprising was the next time he went to the doctor in Kanpur for a checkup, he found that his blood sugar level had fallen from 300, more than 300, he was diabetic, was more than 300, it fell to lower than 200. His doctor was also very shocked. How could this be? He said, well, I don't know. I just started Homa farming, and this is what happened. The doctor told him, well, don't worry, definitely that blood sugar will shoot up again. But to his surprise, the blood sugar level has remained stable. over the next few years. So that's a very, very wonderful story also. It means that not only the plant health is improved with the Agnihotra and the Homa farming, also the human health is also improved. So in terms of global food security, Homa farming is definitely the main answer which we should be going for now. Every farmer can become a happy farmer. Every village can become a prosperous village. Poverty can be totally eradicated. The whole of society can be transformed. We can achieve food security on a global scale with Homa organic farming. Thank you very much. Here are my contact details for anybody who wants to get in contact with me. I'd be happy to interact with anyone who is interested in discussing about Homa organic farming. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Brucey Johnson, for your nice presentation on Homa organic farming for global food security.